The Kenya Medical Research Institute says that while a lot more is still required, Kenya has the capacity to produce COVID-19 vaccines locally should it be granted access to intellectual property rights. This comes a day after the United States announced plans to share vaccine patents as a way of addressing nationalism and shortage. But as Anita Nkonge reports, it may be easier said than done.
A statement by a U.S. trade representative says President Joe Biden's administration notes the extraordinary circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic and has called for extraordinary measures to deal with the matter, paving way for lifting of patent protections for coronavirus vaccines. This means that once approved, individual countries will be able to produce vaccines by themselves with access to their IP rights, reducing the over-reliance on imports. The European Union, from where the AstraZeneca vaccine is manufactured, is also considering eliminating the copyright restrictions.
The European Union is also ready to discuss any proposal that address the crisis in an effective and pragmatic manner. And that's why we are ready to discuss how the US proposal for waiver on intellectual property protection for COVID vaccines could help achieve that objective.
Nothing has been cast in stone just yet, as the US and the EU have merely just given their support on the matter. The real decision has to be made by the World Trade Organization. This development could be seen as a solution to the biting global vaccine shortage and what many have been calling vaccine nationalism. But many question the capacity of African countries, including Kenya, to manufacture the shot of hope. The Kenya Medical Research Institute says that while a lot more may be required, Kenya can still produce back home.
We probably don't have the capacity to produce these vaccines because we haven't put together the infrastructure, and it has not been necessary because we haven't even designed our own vaccines ourselves. But if we are given these intellectual property rights, putting up the infrastructure and producing the first doses is not as difficult as the research and development, which fortunately the developed countries have already done. If we determine that this is a national priority, in my opinion, there is no reason why we shouldn't. It's just that it's a very expensive undertaking, for instance, to put together an assembly line for vaccines. It costs the hundreds of millions to billions, like maybe 1.5 or more billion. But that's not a lot of money for a country like Kenya if you think about it.
Africa is home to 17% of the world's population, but can currently produce only 1% of its vaccine needs. Only 7 countries on the continent have companies operating across the vaccine manufacturing value chain, according to the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change.
Immediate term, we have facilities in Africa that can be able to manufacture COVID-19 vaccines. In the medium term, we have countries that are willing to invest and set up appropriate manufacturing facilities so that in the coming years we are able to manufacture these vaccines. So Africa has a modest capacity, but that can be able to be ramped up relatively quickly when the licenses are made available.
The World Trade Organization says they are looking into the matter and will hopefully deliberate soon. Anita Nkonge, NTV.